Today in Q42 Talk with the Founders, we are going to discuss on how to leverage your on-chain identity. You know, by being on-chain, we all give data to decentralized application. We generate all this data. And some projects these days have issue with farmers, how to reward quality users based on like their on-chain behavior and everything. So that's why we have Simon today from Solana ID that is going to explain a bit what he's currently building on Solana. First thing first, guys, smash the like button, tweet, retweet, quote, ask any questions about Q42 or Simon here. Our latest news is that we have our first abstract sale opening today, and most likely some very cool abstract sale coming up on Q42. So stay tuned. So this is my friend Simon, the most solid guy in crypto, founder of Solana ID protocol. You had your TGE, I think, last week. Can you do us like a small intro about yourself and about Solana ID?
For sure. Thanks for having me on, Julian. Always a pleasure. I enjoy talking at these podcasts. For us, it's very important right now to be out there, right, and to be heard. We managed to build a brand within the last 8 months, basically from zero to now a community of more than 40,000 people. Very organically, very strong community members, and we started the whole thing, I would say, during the Dubai Founders Villa 1, actually. That was when when it sparked. When we pivoted from our digital identity solution that was chain agnostic with a different name to Solana ID, which is now the fastest growing identity layer for the Solana ecosystem. We're working together with the Solana Foundation to an extent. We got a small grant from them through the super team that I am a part of. And we also just had our token launch, as you just said, which was, I think, was not last week anymore. It was on the 19th of December, so shortly before Christmas, not too long ago. We went live with our token, and it was definitely a very interesting experience. We did things a little bit different. We can also double click on that topic. But looking back, it went pretty well. And we are now looking forward to a very, very interesting 2025 because the team is growing, the community is growing now exponentially. The treasury is there. We do have the money now to at least survive for a couple of months or even years, and keep building out Solana ID to become not only the fastest growing, but the flagship identity protocol for Solana and beyond.
Okay, so perhaps you want to tell us like really short in what is like the Solana Dubai house, you know, because I've been there, but most likely people don't know what it is, and like if you can explain a bit, super team.
For sure. So actually, the Solana Dubai Founders Villa, that would be the right term for it. And everyone who wants to learn about this, villa.superteam.fun is the domain, and you can actually already apply for the third version of the Dubai Founders Villa, which is in 2025 in Q1, and I'll be there for sure because I'm an OG for the Founders Villa. I joined the first one, I joined the second one as an alumni, and I'm going to be there for the third one. It's basically a co-living, co-working experience in the heart of Dubai in Al Barsha, in a very nice villa complex, the Nas House, where Super Team Dubai, Super Team UAE, under the management of Alex Scott, is hosting founders from all over the world to basically join the villa and work together. There's workshops every day. It's a very, very good place to be productive, bounce off ideas with other people IRL because they're right there in your living room, and meet new people from the UAE ecosystem. So Alex Scott has a very good talent to bring in very strong people from government, from Binance, from other exchanges, from other companies in Dubai. After being there for like 2 villas now, I have very good contacts in Dubai that I can ping on Telegram for anything.
And I think this is why also you choose Solana. Like, did you had like plan to be on Solana like at the beginning, or it's because like of how like Solana, of course, grew up, like because we're all like Solana maximalist, I think, 8-9 months ago, or like what is it? Like,
well, there's a few reasons for this. So as I said, we built digital identity even before we got grants from several blockchains. We used to work a bit with Mina protocol, which is a very great technical solution as well. We got a grant from the Concordium blockchain, which is an ID focused chain, from Partisia, focused on MPC. And we also worked together with Polygon ID for a while, who are also in the same sector. And that was all great, but there was two main things that were missing: users and apps. Those chains are ghost towns mostly, right? They don't have the breeding ground for a business to thrive. They are great for R&D and tech development. That's what we did. We took the grants and we did R&D. We made our mistakes, we made our learnings, and then we took all those learnings and started Solana ID. And we're like, okay, now we're ready to do something that actually works out in an ecosystem that has users and apps, so we can immediately go to market as well. And it's not just a sandbox environment.
Yeah, of course. And if you were to tell me like what is the pain you are solving? You know, I like to ask like founders this question, like what is the pain you are solving with Solana ID?
There's two pains we're solving because we're a platform solution. So we have users and we have DApps. The first pain we're solving on the user side is that we're helping users to make money based off their data and leverage their good reputation on chain, which they can't do right now because there's just no protocol and no middle layer that allows them to do so. So as a user, you have to accept, in crypto especially, you have to accept that you're so private that it doesn't really matter who you are in the internet because no one knows you anyway, if that makes sense. So you literally can't leverage any good deeds you did in the past, right? So we started the whole thing with this idea of, we need karma in crypto. If you do good, you get good. So we could have named ourselves also Karma Protocol, but the logo of Solana is a lotus flower, and this kind of, that maybe explains a little bit in this direction. But the pain for the users, we give you the opportunity to leverage reputation, you get more value on chain. That's a kind of crypto native problem, but you can even zoom out and say, in Web 2, we never had the ability to own our data and monetize our data because the Web 2 conglomerates of data monopolies said, screw you, we have your data and we're going to decide what we do with it, and we reap all the rewards. So whatever is made on your data from Facebook and so on, they almost have 100% take rate. That means they charge advertisers, they make money, they take it, right? And you're kind of left out. So we solved that pain for the user. And then for the DApps, it's an even more crucial pain, I would say, in crypto, because as I said, you're so private, users are so private that DApps don't have users really. They don't have customers. They have strangers connecting to their app, interacting and leaving again. But that's not how business works in Web 2. In Web 2, people open an account with you and you can make good analysis on them. You know who you're interacting with. And then you can also make targeted marketing and outreach campaigns on these people. And in crypto, you can't do that yet. So it's really hard to reach the right people with your communications in crypto
100%.
Because you can't identify them.
And
so
I
think
that's
something we saw.
I think that's one of the biggest problem we had in this year, because like we had seen so many people disappointing by airdrops, disappointing by the way like protocols like rewarded their users. But in the end, it's very hard for I think for projects to build the tech, build the stuff, and also like crunch all the data on chain to try to reward the people the proper way. I had a chat with a founder like recently, and they did like to on their airdrop to punish like all the guys who just like interacted like 80% of the time only with this protocol. So all the rules like to filter guys who are farming like your project but that are not like users that will not bring value, and I think in the end, I think that's one of my cases. I'm very frustrated in crypto is like, I feel sometimes I have very good behavior on chain, but I'm not rewarded for it, like I'm not selling or like all these kind of things. And I feel like so weird that projects have hard time like rewarding that or like find that and like building like the proper thing, and that's I think a big thing we are missing in crypto, and that's why I think Solana ID like makes a lot of sense on that.
One caveat to that as well, Julian. There's the fact that apps should build their freaking application and not waste time on problems like this. It's literally not their business. Like if you build a crypto app with the idea of, hey, I want to build an exchange and I want to make high frequency trading able, then that's your goal. That's what you should build. But then when you launch a token, you're like, oh shit, now I need to do all those things. And now I need to decide, who gets my token for the airdrop? How do I incentivize people? How do I reward people? How do I find the on-chain data? Can I tap into off-chain data? All those topics are literally not your core business. They're not even near to your core business.
100%.
And they get distracted. So there should be a middle layer, like a protocol that helps them to do that.
Yeah.
That's
and I wish we had like and I think you have like something that's named like an on-chain score, right? But I wish we had like that, like on like I don't know, like very important, like in crypto, or like on your chain. For example, I have some wallets on Solana. I had some,
Yeah.
I minted some Mad Lads. I was like, having
Oh,
some bonk on chain, like,
yeah.
like back in the time and everything. And I feel like this wallet is worth so much, in terms of like
Yeah. Yeah.
reputation and like OG
Yeah.
kind of thing. And
That
I
will be
cannot, I
interesting.
cannot
Yeah.
leverage that, I cannot leverage that,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like, an issue, But I think,
Mm,
what do you think of like all these on-chain scores? Do you think like it will be something very important in the years to come? Because I think everything is
yeah.
moving on-chain slowly. I think it's
Yeah.
taking way more time that what we could have imagined in crypto, but it's moving like on-chain. And
Mm.
so like, how do you think of this on-chain score? Like, do you think it will be something like?
It is a huge opportunity for companies that are in the data sector to do something with it, and nobody's really doing it. Like especially in targeted marketing and the data business, which is owned by Google, Facebook, and all those big boys. And they're like, like always, like they have their own, their own successful company. They make a lot of money. They're too big and too comfy to say, oh, we need to push forward at the frontier of technology and crypto. And there was a time when Google started, to allow when you copy your wallet address, your public key, and you Google it, and then they showed you some on-chain stats
Mm,
immediately, similar to when you Google a name, they will
mm,
give you some bullet points immediately. I don't know if that feature still exists, but it was like the only thing they did, and nothing. I was like, guys, like you obviously what's happening, like you implement those features, but you should do so much more on chain because it's literally it's a treasury of data that's there. How about making sense of that? And that's what we decided to do. We're like, okay, there's so much data on chain. You can do so many great things with this. For example, you can use them to build ID profiles for users, identity
mm.
profiles. If you then allow the opportunity to bridge off-chain data into the same data pool in a sovereign, privacy-first way, you can create very holistic on-chain identity profiles without doxing, without giving away your personal
Yeah, of
private
course, of
data.
course, of course.
But then you have a very holistic profile based on all your on-chain footprint, your digital footprint from the Web 2 world. And now apps can tap into that to identify, who could be a valuable customer for my application and how I can make sure that my marketing budget lands in his pocket and not in some other pocket that won't use my app anyway. Right. And
Yeah,
everyone
definitely,
everyone
definitely.
wins at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
definitely. So
So
this is your first main use case at Solana
exactly.
ID. Okay. So
Yes.
what would be like your biggest, I would say, um I think you have an airdrop coming, so I think it will
Yeah.
be like for you like a very the best way to demonstrate that you
Yes.
you will do like the not the best airdrop, but the most fair, I would say, airdrop like in the space. So
Mm-hmm.
what's coming up? Like, tell us.
So we're obviously the guinea pig for all our technology, and some things work, sometimes some things don't work. We iterate on top of it, but that's how it is. So what we did, to kind of paint the picture very very briefly, we had a proof of concept live. It was called the Priority Pass, and people could sign up to it. It's kind of a waiting list, but it has a scoring logic and a lane number logic behind it. So it is dynamic. So people could move around in the waiting list in lanes in the numbers, depending on how many off-chain credentials they connected, how many referrals they made, and what their on-chain score is. Right, and then people were competing, for the best place in the waiting list. And then we tiered the waiting list in 4 tiers. So you have first class, 1,000 wallets, second class, another 2,000 wallets, and so on. The whole thing is 20,000 wallets big. Now we're going to do an airdrop to this first kind of proof of concept early adopter community of ours, besides other airdrops that we're doing for certain NFT communities and so on. But for the priority pass, for example, the first class, the people that have the most referrals, the best on-chain score, kind of the high credible users, they get the bigger chunk, right, of the airdrop. So we're already discriminating here based on ID data, based on behavioral data of those people, to make sure that the right people get the larger chunks of the airdrop to kind of prevent that our token goes in the wrong hands, right? That's one thing how we do it. And then the second thing for like broader airdrop campaigns, let's say we're airdropping to, you said Madlets. So if you're a Madlet holder, you're also going to be eligible for an airdrop from Solidity per NFT. Now you connect the wallet that holds your NFTs, and you get a base allocation per NFT that might be not super large. And you will get a boosted allocation if you have an on-chain score with that wallet or another wallet that you connect to the same account that goes after or above a certain threshold. So if you're above average, let's say, on your on-chain score, on your
That's cool.
footprint, you'll get a boosted allocation for your Mad Lads NFT in your wallet. Again, making sure that, yes, all the NFT holders get something, because that's already a signal, but we want the best ones. We want the people that are, like you said,
of course.
that have been there early, that are super active, and they get rewarded the most, right? And there will be people saying, "Oh, that's so unfair. Why don't I get a
Like
larger allocation?"
they reward the whales and everything, but yeah,
But
like of course,
at the end of the day, it is actually very, very fair. And the base allocation goes literally to everyone, like all the NFT holders. So no one goes away with nothing. But if it's just like $5 or something for people that are, just dormant with their wallet, what do you expect? Like, money doesn't come for free and doesn't, fall from the sky. People always think in crypto it does, but it doesn't.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so if you're a project on Solana, you want to like do an airdrop, you want to like think of like your on-chain reward system, they have to DM you, right? So of course you will have the link of Solana ID, Simon Twitter, like in the posts. We'll put him like also like in the retweet tweet. And if you have like any other question regarding Solana ID, guys, feel free to comment and like ask your question. I think Simon will be forced to answer all of them. Now let's move to like I think simpler questions, or like harder one, because like it will not be related to Solana ID. So what makes you build on Solana? Like when did you have like the thing in mind that tells you like I want to be focused on Solana? Because outside Solana ID, I think you are doing a lot of things on Solana. You are very well connected. I think you are helping a bunch of founders. I'm sending few founders to Simon on the TG go-to-market strategy to like say, okay, Simon will help you. So why Solana?
Because Solana is a breeding ground that thrives and is on the upward trajectory, and you're benefiting from the growth as a founder on top of it. It's a network effect that the Solana ecosystem reached that is hard to beat anymore. They've proven that they don't back down, they won't die. They have enough people holding their token to keep them alive. I don't need to explain why, but it happened in the past. They're still here. And the Solana kind of foundation, the way that they set up the ecosystem, is just super efficient with the whole super team layer between foundation and builders. It's this kind of community layer with local chapters. So wherever you live in the world, there will be a super team either in your country or very nearby. And those super teams have one mission, which is help builders build on Solana. Why do they have that mission set by the foundation? Because foundation wants transactions on chain. How do you get more transactions? By very good, smart people building applications that are generating transactions, right? So it's kind of no-brainer. And Super Team funds projects. So we knocked on the door and we're like, hey, we have this digital identity company that's been around since a year now. And we did a lot of R&D, and we need a new home, and we want to build on Solana. Do you help us? And they were like, yep, for sure. Sounds great. Here's some money. They gave us a couple $1,000s, and they're like, start, show us something. And then we started, and then it worked out really well. And then the super team that you belong to, they will help you connect with other people and so on. So it's just in terms of doing business, it's super supportive because of the super team layer. I would say it's a cheat code. And then lastly, also the overall sentiment of Solana builders is just very positive, and that just feels good. Like people are, they're smart, they're bullish, they're
100%.
they're looking forward.
And I think on Solana we still have so many people like hating Solana or saying like Solana will disappear. Like I see so many threads like on Twitter, it's insane. So I'm like, yeah, the top is definitely not in. That's perfect. And I think also that's one of the most important things. Like is like if you're a founder, you want to build on the relevant chain. Like I see so many founders, they're like, okay, I will get this grant, and so I will build on this dead chain. And I'm like, bro, you will never make it. Like never. Like never. You have to focus on being like on chains where you have some active users, where you can be helped, where you can also the chain that is organized. Not to quote one, but one chain is going like on live on mainnet, like I think in 2-3 months. And just like on how I interact with like founders, like how the system is made with grants and everything. Like you see, like the system will not make it. Like it's just like it doesn't work. So I think that's why like Solana is so important. And not a financial advice. Like of course everything we haven't gave like much like financial advice, but everything we see is of course not a financial advice and everything. But like if you're a founder, you want to make it, or like if you want to learn as fast as possible, I think like moving to like a super team or like to a Solana house close to you, I think is the best thing to do like for a few months. Even though you are not a developer, of course they prefer developers, but if you're not a developer, you're a BD guy or whatsoever, go
Yeah,
ahead. And I think it will just like change the way you see crypto and your network and go from that,
100%. Yeah.
Another question is like, you will have to leak some alpha, so of course not financial advice. What are the things you are
Mhm.
the most bullish on for 2025? Could be a token, could be like a technology, could be like something that is we haven't heard of, could be an NFT collection, whatsoever.
So I would say, first of all, I think 2025 is going to be pretty good for all of us. That's the first thing I want to say. I know it's going to be a rough ride though, so people should be prepared to keep chewing some glass. It's not going to be all glory, but if you stick around and if you keep a calm mind, it's going to be good for the overall mind. Let's put it there. It can a choppy ride, but good. Then if you want to look into some more details, obviously I'm very bullish on the whole data sector and privacy technology. I think that's still something that was kicked off in crypto, but never really saw its best years, and especially on Solana, we can do so much more when it comes to data. But I'm heavily biased because my company is in that sector. But yeah, I
No,
think
but I like that, I think one of the things I love about Ethereum is like, I think Ethereum has had all the playbooks of like the thing that will make like just a super big impact on crypto. And I think like Vitalik, like previous cycle, like even 2018, he was mentioning about like privacy on chain,
yeah,
data on chain, all this kind of thing. I don't think like we have many protocol on ETH that really did something consumer centric or like business centric, but
yeah.
I think that's when like you have to take those ideas and like implement it like on Solana, and then you will make it a banger.
Yeah,
Okay,
people
so
have been talking about it, yeah, for a
yeah,
while, but definitely, and also like in general, like part of this data sector is identity, and we haven't seen the big kind of apps yet that came out of that. But there's
mhm.
like every smart person you ask will tell you, yeah, they're like blockchain identity. It's an interesting sector, they always say.
Okay, okay.
But even though they don't know what they mean with that, they heard it somewhere. Maybe they have a stronger opinion, but they always say that. Why? Because it just makes sense. Because identity needs self-sovereignty if it's a fair system, and crypto can give us this, but it needs to be in a way that it kind of that you can reach product market fit, like, because identity itself is useless if you don't have a use case. So that's all Solana ID related things. So maybe another thing that I'm bullish
Yeah.
on is I would say definitely the agent economy, because it's just insane what's happening there right now, and the technology will reform everything. It's a pivotal moment for the internet if you
So
combine
how,
crypto
how,
and
how well
agents.
how well do you know agents? How well do you know agents?
I'm exposed, let's say,
Okay,
into
okay, you're
the
exposed. So
yeah.
what's I'm curious, what makes you first thing is like the thing I love talking with like Solana founders is like we feel we had like a super strong bear market because you are so
Mm,
like humble, like that
mm,
like things are not done yet. We have to be
yeah,
cautious and everything. I think we have been
yeah,
humbled like so hard during the bear market, and I think that's why also like founders like are very strong on Solana.
yeah.
And so yeah, let's get back to agents. What makes you bullish on agents? What do you see of like agents?
I think first of all, they capture a lot of mind share right now, which is what you need for if we're
Mm,
talking tokens, right? Like if we're talking like what alpha is there for in terms of tokens. I think meme coins have seen their prime. We kind of sucked all the energy out of that sector until the last bit, and right now it's more frustrating than exciting to trade meme coins.
mhm.
So a lot of people burned their hands and they're like, I don't know if that's the holy grail here. But then agent meme coins, voila, it's like some new breed of meme coins,
Yeah.
are super interesting because they actually come with a use case, with a utility, and with a bigger vision, right? And that again captures mindshare and attention, a lot of mindshare and attention, because it's just revolutionary technology. If you have a non-human on Twitter tweeting all the time, actual
Yeah, definitely.
relevant things that are super interesting, and if they also own, if they can transact on financial rails as agents,
Mm,
that gives a whole new kind of possibility for them, because they get financial sovereignty. They can spend money, they can employ people, they can get work done. It's insane what you can do if you really have this money system inserted into agents. So crypto and agents is just a no-brainer. It kind of makes a lot of sense, and
yeah,
we've seen it
definitely.
with with Truth Terminal and similar technologies, we've seen what happens if you send crypto to an agent wallet, and then some meme coin gets created. So I think a lot of mindshare and attention will flow into agent meme coins in the next kind of couple months and years in 2025. So I think that's a sector to watch. And it's not my opinion. Just literally go on Twitter and you see how it looks like on Kaito AI, this new thing that everyone talks about, and you see the mindshare on agents.
Yeah, I think the mindshare like agent are close to a peak. And I wouldn't say like this time is different. Of course, like agent will have like big drawdowns. It will be very interesting.
Sure.
But I think it's something that is like in crypto now we have like a new like big stuff that is meme coins. And I think in meme coins we will have like cult meme coins, like animal meme coins, and then we'll have like agents. I can't consider them like meme coins because most of the agents right now are kind of like meme coin related. So that's the one we saw on Twitter, you know. And for example, like at Q42 or like with the thing we do on the side, we invested in a bunch of like agent that could be like on-chain agent, like not really the agent we see like on Twitter, you know, like more agent that are not like tweeting, more like doing performing tasks, you know, on-chain and everything. And I think we have like this wave of like agent that has been working and like building since like 6 months, 1 year now, that will soon go TG, like I think in the next few weeks, and all this like new energy will give like fresh air like to agents, and will most likely I think put some pressure on like the current agent we have that are just agent tweeting, and if you don't do more, then at the end like it's just like I wouldn't say it's fugazi because it's not fugazi, but it's like it needs like a second thing, you know. And I think that's what we're saying with like the we are saying with the top agents is like they are building and like releasing new coming things. Okay, perhaps to last question. Have you done some VC this year? Like, have you investing in like early stage project? If yes, tell us why. And if no, do you plan to do some in 2025?
Myself, you mean I'm on the buy side?
Yeah.
Bro, I just scaled up Solana's fastest growing ID layer. I didn't have time to buy things. I only sold things. So I've been selling our token pre TG in private rounds. So I had a lot of conversations with investors, but I didn't do any private sales or any pre-sales myself because it's just like the energy and the time was not there.
Yeah, I don't have the time.
I used to I do. People don't know that sometimes, or I didn't tell it to you as well. But I worked in venture capital before entering crypto, so I do have this kind of VC background, and I worked in the field because it is a big passion of myself, and I love investing in early stage companies with great technology and great founders. And I'm doing what I'm doing right now partially because I want to do that in the future again, just with bigger bags. So I'm trying to build my wealth here. Personally, that's like one of my motivations why I'm scaling my own company now. I want to learn how to be a successful founder myself, exit, you know, and go through the whole journey with all the learnings and be very good at it. And then I want to go back to VC and take my money and be like,
good.
Hey guys,
I knew that. Okay.
I did it. I can
like,
tell you how to do it. So that's like I was lacking. Like when I was VC, I was like, why do all these guys invest in startups and tell them what to do, but they haven't done it themselves? Like it's like
but
something
you know,
is missing.
most of the time they have done it before. Like most of the time they have done it before.
There's
like most of the guys who
right?
are in VC now, they have guys who are exited or like they are they have talked with so many founders.
And I think the best ones.
Yeah. I think just to if you have anything to add, feel free to add. But to end up like on that, I think I wanted to close on a note. And people, you know, always ask why VC matters. You know, why giving capital to like early stage project matters. And I think Simon is a great example because I think when I saw him, like I don't know, first time we met like 1 year ago, perhaps a bit more. You had like build like a bunch of things, pivoting, iterating, but you haven't found like I think not your product market fit, but the vision, the true vision you wanted to achieve. So you raise money through angels, through VC to like support your ecosystem, support your vision, and now like the community is growing, the token is live. You have a very strong, I think, use case that can definitely make it. Of course, you know, it's nothing is guaranteed, but you have your bigger job coming up. I think your community will keep growing. And that's why like VC matters so much is like by backing like true founders that, you know, are in the trenches, are in the founder mode, like working super hard. I know Simon is a very hardworking guy, you know, even though when he's going at events, he's still working, networking, and, you know, going very hard on that. And I think this is why like VC matters, you know. And I think 2025, we're going to see like some very big success stories of like founders VC backed, that will change
Yeah.
like people's mind on like all this like VC bashing that doesn't make a lot of sense. But yeah, shout out to Murad for like his like
I
meme coin
mean,
thesis. And now no, I'm
that,
like the funny thing is like Murad was like disrupting a bit VC and like only going on meme coins. I think the issue with meme coins is like there is no product, so in the end it's like, as you mentioned, repetitive and like it doesn't mean anything. And now Murad is getting disrupted by agents. So I'm like, in crypto, like it's like you're never safe. Like it's crazy. But VC will always remain. VC will always be here. So that's
it's
my
true.
thesis. That's my
And
thesis.
there are shades, right? There's no black and white in this world. Usually there's like shades of things. So
Yeah, of course.
there's
Of course.
good VCs and bad VCs. Like you can't literally, like we always say we're not a tier 1 VC backed project. We say that. We never did the VC playbook, but we have VCs in our company. It's not like we didn't let them in, right? Why? Because they have smaller tickets. They are usually smaller in size. They're very supportive. Like they're the right ones. So we let VCs invest in us that have good intentions. We only want to get the sharks out of the system. And those are usually the guys that are net negative for everyone, that just extract the most value for themselves. And there's been
sharks are everywhere. In crypto, it could be like centralized exchanges, could be market makers, could be.
That's what I
say. So no, in the end, it's like it's always the same thing.
Exactly. That's why I say it's not VCs, it's sharks. That's the problem.
But you're a good example of like why like funding matters, why you have to raise money to build a project, because it's not that easy and like it takes time. Thanks a lot, Simon, for this interview. Really appreciate your time. Always like all the transparency of like you talking out loud. Feel free really to follow Solana ID. Follow Simon on Twitter. Feel free to ask him like I think any question below this post. And thanks for your time. Wishing you like a great 2025 and happy New Year, Simon.
Cool. Thanks, Julian. Happy to be here. Thanks.